So we've already discussed how you need to attack the weakening and argument-based critical reasoning questions. So I hope you have already attempted solving these questions, and now you are trying to check, how to work on this. So let's read this. If not, I would recommend you to pass and read them again. I hope you have tried this. So let's just start. So recently, the city council conducted a survey of 1,000 car owners whose cars had recently met with an accident, right? So the council did a survey of 1,000 car owners which have met an accident. Half of these car owners had got their cars repaired at authorized service centers, and the other half got their cars repaired at local unauthorized service stations. So half of them at authorized, half of them at unauthorized local service stations. Average repair cost of those who got their cars serviced at unauthorized service stations was $500. So that they're talking about the cost, unauthorized. Whereas the average repair cost of those who got their cars repaired at authorized service stations is $900. Right? So City Council concluded from this survey that the authorized service stations in general charge more than do unauthorized service stations. So a question is asking which of the following if true. So you have to consider each option, like let's say if this is true, right? Don't try to see if this is true as per the passage. That's not how you would look at, right? If at all these statements are true, which are not mentioned in the passage, which of them would most seriously weakens, right? Basically counters the conclusion, like sort of makes it a weak conclusion. What is the conclusion here? The city council's conclusion is that the authorized service stations charge more than the unauthorized. So authorized service stations charge more than unauthorized service stations in terms of dollars, right? In terms of money, like that's what they said, 500, 900. So now I need to find what was the argument they put. They took a survey of 1,000 cars which have met with an accident, and then half of them are serviced at authorized and other half were serviced at unauthorized, right? So they saw the prices. So authorized was charging more. So technically you might come to a conclusion that authorized service stations are a bit more costly. Now the question is saying you should come up with an argument which would say that this conclusion is not complete or not correct, maybe sort of weaken it. Let's look at them. All the car owners whose cars had faced severe damage choose to get their cars repaired at authorized service stations. Like this looks like a very good option actually. What is this saying? See, you cannot just judge the cost of the repair based on where you took, right? The point is that maybe the people who went to the authorized service stations had major accidents because a lot of parts need to be, repaired, changed and all of that. So obviously it would cost you more. So you cannot blame the cost directly to the authorized service stations. Maybe that all the car owners whose cars had faced severe damage choose to get their cars repaired at authorized stations. So small minor repairs people have gone for the unauthorized stations. That's why there could be a difference in the price. So you cannot conclude this. That looks like a very good option for me. Let's look at the others also. Many automobile companies discourage their buyers from going to unauthorized service stations. Okay, so this could be true. So what? How is this going to say that the council concluded wrong thing, that authorized centers are costly? No, this is not helping me to counter the conclusion. Unauthorized service stations on average take less time to repair cars than authorized service. Again, this is also focusing on the less time part. So what? The focus is that it's costlier. In general, charge more. That's not talking about which one is faster, better, quality. That's not all discussed in the passage, or not all focused in terms of conclusion as well. So it's not going to give me any sort of support to weaken it. All the 1,000 car owners who were surveyed faced similar damage to their cars. Actually, if you ask me, this is like, strengthening the part. So the question that you might think is, hey, you said the 1,000 car owners were surveyed, half of them went for unauthorized, half of them went for authorized. Fair enough. Okay, but what if some of them actually had heavy damages? That's why they went for heavy authorized centers. That's why they paid more. This is what the first option is saying, which would make the conclusion a bit weakened. This one is saying that we have taken a fair sample, that is all the 1,000 car owners that were picked for survey had very similar damages. Right, so if the damages are similar, if they don't charge more, if authorized service stations are generally not charging more, they should also come out closer to 500. Right, so this one actually, if this is true, you are actually can confidently claim that the city council's conclusion that authorized stations are charging more, because I sent similar type of repairs for both the stations. These people charge 500 and these people charge 900. So clearly that means the authorized stations are charging more. That is if this is true. Right, so this is rather like a strengthening part rather than a weakening part. So this one would have been correct if it was strengthens the conclusion, right? This is the weakening part. What is the weakening part? I am saying that what if the cars that have been taken to the authorized were heavily damaged, whereas these were minor dents and minor repairs, which wouldn't cost you a lot. So it's maybe prices are fair, just that the reason with which the people have gone to these stations are different. Experienced car mechanics recommend unauthorized service stations over authorized. Again, so what? I mean, they might recommend for whatever the reason be, doesn't, conclude or support, or rather it's weak. If at all, if anything, it's like more like strengthening again in a way. It's like, even car mechanics experienced people know that it's better to go for unauthorized. Maybe because they charge more, maybe because they don't get cheated, whatever. If at all there's something, it is actually in a way slightly strengthening. I would not say strongly, but at all not weakening for sure. So out of all, option A is the answer clearly. So let's look at this. Acme brand aspirin claims to be the best headache relief available on the market today. So this is the second one. Headache relief tablet. To prove this claim, Acme called 10 people and asked them their thoughts on headache relief products. All 10 of them stated that they unequivocally, that is like, they are confidently saying that no doubts about it. They are very clear in saying that Acme brand aspirin is what they use on a regular basis and they believe it to be the best headache relief available in the market. So basically this, let's say any company does that, all the companies do it. So this company got some people to come and say that they really love the Acme brand aspirin for the health, headache part, and they find that to be the best. Now the question is asking which of the following, if true, would weaken the argument. That is, I need to come up with some statement which would say this argument is not strong. I have to counter it. I have to say you are wrong with this argument because of something. So let's look at the options. Acme brand aspirin is highly addictive. Okay, so if it is addictive, so okay, maybe we can argue that people are addicted, that's why they are claiming it's good. So fine, maybe it's part of the aspirin tablets, lot of tablets might have side effects and all, maybe. I would not count this as weakening the argument. Here the argument is more like people are loving it. Right, these 10 people claimed and they are trying to say this is what the general opinion is. The 10 people called were married to the company's top 10 executives and they were coached on what to say. This looks like a fabricated situation, right? That is, they created it. So these 10 people are not random people, they are actually the people of the company's top executives and they were coached what to say. So obviously they'll come and say, hey, this is a great product, we really love it, etc., etc., which means this would weaken the argument. Absolutely, this looks like a valid point. But let's look at the 3 more statements and see. Most people choose to suffer silently through their headaches and take no medicine whatsoever. So again, this has nothing to do with this element of argument where they said some people claim that they really loved it and they found it to be the best. So what if some people don't use it, are they as just silent? The survey was conducted by an independent company. If at all is there anything, there is like a strengthening part. That is, you are saying that it's a fair survey. You can always question the survey, right? So hey, the survey was fake one because they got some people that they know, maybe it's some already scripted ones. But if this is done by independent company, technically you are saying that the company would do a fair survey. So that means if at all this is true, it actually strengthens this conclusion of the argument, not conclusion, rather it's an argument that they put. So this is more like a strengthening, so nope. The 10 people were selected. And again, this one also, when you are doing a survey, the most fair way is that you do at randomness, right? So again, this means there is no unfair practice done in the survey. So if we remove these two, these are in a way actually positive towards strengthening the argument. There is this option which says that hey, the people that have made the claim are fake. That means they are coached and they are just scripted ones. They are just saying it what they are asked to say. It's a fabricated one. That's why I am countering the argument. So it's a perfect one to weaken the argument. Easier one actually. So the last one, the rate of the car theft in New York City has increased from 19% from 2001, right? So it's gone up. The blame for this rests with the soft on crime judges. So it's a description of a judge who is not very strict on the criminals. They are being a little bit soft, maybe the punishments wise and all of that. So they are putting the blame on them, right? So the behavior seen is that the car theft in New York City has gone up 19% from 2001. The blame, why did it go up? The blame is being put on the judges who have been soft on the criminals, right? The new judges that have been appointed by the administration, so they have been soft on the criminals. That's what the argument is. So this argument would be weakened if it were true that. Now look at the options. Murders in the city have also increased over by 25%. So what? This one actually sort of again saying this is only focusing on car theft and these judges are being soft on criminals. If this is the argument I am putting, they would have been soft on the murderers or potential murderers also, and maybe because of which it has gone up. So this, in a way, if at all anything, it's like actually going along with the argument rather than weakening it. So this is absolutely not. Polls show that 65% of the population in the city opposes the death penalty. So this is again sort of saying that people also are very soft. Like 60 in the city, a lot of people are being opposing the death penalty. Maybe they are being a bit soft, maybe no, we don't know, but people have nothing to do with that. The argument is all on the judges. So you have to try to see if it's a mistake of judge or someone else. People have nothing to do with, you know, the car thefts and all, right? 35% of the police in the city have been laid off in the last year due to budget cuts. This looks like a decent option. Why? Because so the thefts are happening maybe because the police are less in number to monitor them. It's not maybe completely to be blamed on the judges. Right? I can argue that hey, judges have been fine. It's just that people couldn't. The police staff are less understaffed, so maybe they're struggling to, you know, monitor it well. So let's keep it for now. Let's look at others. The city has hired 25 new judges in the last year to compensate for deaths and retirement. So they have hired new people. So what, the new judges came doesn't mean it's gonna weaken anything, right? They're already saying that some new judges are soft on crime. That's what the new administration has appointed, some judges. 85% of the other cities in the nation have lower crime rates than this city. So this is again comparing this city with other cities. So basically it says New York has, you know, a poor system because of which there's higher criminal rate. So that is not weakening this argument. The argument is this. The argument is fundamentally what? That the reason behind the increased car thefts is because of the judges who are being soft on the criminals. That is what the argument is. Now I am countering it with this statement saying that, you know what, it's not the mistake of judges. It's just that police are understaffed in the city because of which they are not able to catch more thieves, and thieves are doing more and more of, you know, their job, that is to steal the cars and all. So that's why the problem is not with the judges, the problem is with the understaffed police. That's what you are trying to counter. So that's how you are able to weaken it. The rest of the things are not helping us, right? So that's how we can find the answers. So read each and every option, see which one is weakening it. First identify the conclusion or the argument and then try to work on the relevant statement.